There goes the bunny, like that.
You can tell that my upbringing, Ash, was a little bit misspent out at the dog track.
Oh, do you know, mate? I used to love a day at the dogs.
Did you?
Um, yeah, absolutely loved it. I don't know I don't, when I found out about the ethics of it, it kind of changed my mind on it. But when I first, when I didn't know anything, I used to absolutely love it.
Yeah, look, my grandfather trained greyhounds, and I was walking greyhounds for, oh, gee whiz. Um, you know how we're playing music from the 50s in
Yeah.
the evening show? Well, it kind of not long after that, I was walking greyhounds, but I had no idea that rabbits didn't want to be chased by greyhounds and things like that those days.
Oh,
I was a
oh,
very
well,
innocent young person.
it was toy rabbits when I used to go. It wasn't the rabbits I was concerned with. It was the greyhounds.
Oh, okay. Either way, there was a little bit of cruelty going on there, without
Yeah,
question. So,
yeah.
yeah, look, I don't condone it these days, and it's a long time since I put any money on a dog or a horse. I've got to tell you,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, most of them were slower than the ones that finished in front of them anyway. So I was going to go, I was going to go broke.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, this is not a good plan.
Yeah.
And hence, many years later, here we are trading currencies for a living. Wonderful, wonderful thing to do.
Yeah. Not quite as much cruelty as we know. Is passed on.
No, well, we don't see how cruel we are being to other people. You see,
No.
that's somewhere on the other side of us. There's someone losing money when we're winning it. But we're all just a figure. We're all just a
Yes.
number. So
Yes.
it really isn't. If we don't take it, someone else is going to, right? So
Well, there's that, and obviously everybody can be on an even playing field. When they get what they should be doing. I don't think I'm certainly not particularly unique, and if I can make money out of it, then other people can too. It's just a case of putting the work in.
yeah, application. That's right. Like everything. We better start this pound scenario going. By the
Yeah,
way,
you do that, mate.
we're still in yesterday's trade, of course.
Oh, beautiful.
And what are we at now? 127. Must be a fair little whack now. We are 160, nearly 170 pips. We risked what? 31. So that, yeah, it's getting up to about 5.5, 6 to 1 times risk. That's pretty cool for a breakout. That's what we're looking for, of course. That's why we trade breakouts, in case they just give us a nice little win. Right, let's have a look and see what's happening today. I'll put the little magic tool on, and that's telling me that our range is top of this bar, bottom of this bar. We'll set the buy order at 1.2823 for today. 1.2823 will be the buy order. The stop loss, I will have to work that out. Will be underneath that bar there at 1.2815. That's the stop loss. Oh, it's not supposed to move like that. And I'll work out TP1 a little bit. The sell order will be 1.2779. And the stop loss on that will be 1. No, that won't be right. It will be 1.2804. And again, we'll work the take profits out in just a tick. Okay, so there we go. I'll place those orders. First one will be a sell because that's where we're closest to. And again, guys, this is in beta test mode. You're not putting real hard-earned lots of money on this. This is very much a case of suck it and see, and trying to work out the best way to trade these for long-term profit, not for entertainment purposes. The stop loss on the sell rather was 1.2. What am I doing? 2779. That's right. 1.2804. Okay, that's that one. The buy is at 1.2823. Stop loss for that is 1.2815. All right, let's put that in the market. Rightio, so here's the deal. With the buy order, TP1 will be half of the risk. So the risk is 8 pips. So we'll be taking profit at 4. This will be a very quick trade, I would think. Will be either in and going or in and out very, very quickly. So 4 pips of TP1 takes us to 1.2827. And no, that's not right. Wrong place. TP1, 1.2827. TP2 will be twice our risk, which will be 16 pips and bring us in at 1.2839. Okay, so there is the order for the long. The take profit levels for the sell. The risk on this is 25, so we'll take a profit at 12 pips, which will bring us in at 1.2767 for TP1. And TP2 will be twice the risk, so 50 pips at 1.2729. Okay, there is your order for the day for the pound breakout trade. I'll just make it so we can all see it. All right, there we go. Now, managing yesterday's trade, look, as I say, leave it entirely up to you guys. We've taken TPs 1 and 2. Stops should be at entry and manage it as you see fit. If you want to trade the swings as stop losses, then you probably have your stop loss about here. If you want to just be more circumspect and trail it with a little bit more space, then you could probably use the pivots or that level there. Up to you, however you want to deal with it. I can't predict where pound US dollar is going, really can't. So all I can do is play the levels. And at the moment, if you have a look at the levels on pound US dollar, we are at a support level. Now, if we get through here, wow, we're doing okay. And we will be doing okay. So that's kind of where you need to be thinking. Okay, do I want to have a big result out of this, or do I just want to take what's on the table? Wine's on soon. Shukri, goodness me.
It is tricky, isn't it, mate? When you get to this particular point, you know, I think we're all expecting a bit of a bounce here, but that is almost a good enough reason to not expect a bounce. I think, you know, everybody's kind of after that bounce to happen, but I think it's one of those things, especially if you've got trades on. You know, if you've got trades on, you just want to try and manage them in the best way possible and leave them run for as long as possible. You know, well, the pound still hasn't broken out. Sorry, not the pound. Sorry, the dollar still hasn't quite broken out. It's attempting to right now, but it hasn't got there yet.
Banging its head, isn't it?
It's banging its head. Yeah, it's banging its head, and I do fully expect it to break out. You know, I'm not anticipating us this pattern failing. I'm actually looking for this pattern to actually succeed. Now, I don't know whether it'll go today. That's a a completely different matter. Does it come back for another day or so and then go out? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going to go out, of course, but my anticipation is that we are going higher with the dollar, and I think that means that things like gold, silver, right across the board that we've been talking about, the pound, I suppose specifically we're talking about now. I still think there's a little bit more downside with all these all these instruments. I think that there's a pretty good chance that that there's just a little bit more to go before we turn around. Now, of course, that may not happen, and it might end up looking pretty foolhardy to not taking the profit, but we might only be halfway home. You know,
Yeah, you're in the same boat going the other way, right? So it's it's very much a personal thing, I think, and that's why I take profit early. So I'm safe. I can't lose if I get to a certain level quickly, and that's my whole thing. I don't stand the stress like I used to be able to at 20 when I was watching horses go backwards in front of my eyes and my bank account going down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me that much. I just go to the bar and get tanked. Because there's always next week. But it's a different story these days, because when you do get to a certain vintage, you tend to go, oh, no, I don't need that stress. I'll just ride this and get my profit in the bank as quickly as possible, or get safe as quickly as possible. That's the key for me, and it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody, but that's just the way I am. And I guess you guys in the room would have noticed that, I don't take too many trades. I wait quite often. I just wait and wait and wait until I get what I want to see. And if I see it, I'll trade it, no problem. But that may take a week. It may take 2 weeks at times. That doesn't bother me. I'm happy to go slow. And I understand if you're 20, that can be a terribly boring thing to do. But for me, it works. And that's kind of where you've got to be, when you're trading or in any financial situation. You've got to be comfortable with where you're at. G'day, Swee. Hi, Dennis. Shukri. Oh, my big day. It is my big day. My first wallet is going to be open in the wonderful world of crypto this evening. My goodness me, speaking about nervousness. In my farm, yes, my wallet and my farm. Powell is up tonight. Yeah, Powell's on again. I didn't actually see what he did yesterday or what his speech was all about last night. Were you across it at the end of the day?
Yeah, a little bit, mate. Yeah, I mean, it seemed relatively positive. It seemed relatively upbeat from Jerome Powell yesterday, and I think that along with the pandemic, I think that's got a pretty good chance of spooking this market. I thought that the move in the Nasdaq yesterday was probably the most interesting, and I'll bring you some charts just to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about.
Okay,
what's that? Is that the pound?
That's the pound again. So TP1's been hit, guys, already. You should be trading safe again on the pound. So go for that. Take 50% off the table at 27.67, and yeah, that was a quick one. That's what we were nice. Absolutely.
Very nice, mate. I wonder if that's well, let's. Oh, sorry, mate. You've got the power.
That's the way it should be, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to give you. Oh, where's the control panel gone? There it is. Righto. Going to there, then there. And I haven't renamed myself. I'll get in trouble for that. Why won't it do it? There we go.
I always try and do it in the morning, but I wasn't able to earlier.
You should be good now, mate, I think.
Okie dokie.
Well, thanks for letting me know, guys. I may well have missed my TP1 there.
Yeah, so we got interesting price action yesterday at the close of trade from the Nasdaq. But as I said before, and I still stand by this. I don't think we've hit the levels where profit taking, from my perspective anyway. I don't think we've hit the levels where there's a chance that this turns around significantly. I think there's a chance it turns around a bit. If we bring in some pivots, then we can see that the Nasdaq is slightly above the pivots, the daily pivot that is. So it might get stuck here for a little while, but it might not last. It's if anything was to be of interest, it would be the Nasdaq, and if we consider the reason for that and the reason for the move that we've seen to the downside, it certainly appears at this stage that the big move that we've had right across the board in the UK 100, big move to the downside in the S&P, in the Nasdaq, it does seem to be COVID related. It does seem to be a COVID related move in the opposite direction. And obviously, when we saw what happened to the Nasdaq after COVID, then you don't really have to do too much work to recognize that out of all indices that benefits from people being at home and having to work from home, or taking up new subscriptions in things like Netflix or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime, and using things like Zoom, which again was up yesterday. We got Tesla out later on, talking about a new battery that Elon Musk says is a bit of a game changer when it comes down to battery power, because they can't get enough batteries to supply their cars for the demand of their cars. So I think they've developed their own battery, and apparently it's going to be quite an exciting release. But tech will do, pretty well in this environment, which suggests that we should be looking, if we ever want to flip positions, we should be looking at the Nasdaq. And I will be looking at the Nasdaq. Where it comes down to is I guess anybody's guess, but I would still like to see another 5% drop in the Nasdaq before I was interested in, attempting to take a nibble. Because if we look on the daily chart, it looks like the lower end of this particular range is around about the 10,450 level. If we look on the weekly chart, it's much lower, and there's a chance that we do come and test this area on the weekly chart, and that's down at 9,630, so 9,650, call it, just to give us a round number. So it's somewhere within this band. I think the Nasdaq has still got a pretty good chance of going higher. If it comes down to 9,630 or 9,650, it's going to be another 10% drop in the Nasdaq, and there's a chance that happens. But if it is, there's a good chance that would happen if the dollar strengthens significantly. If the pandemic is the only show in town, the Nasdaq will probably actually be one of the benefactors of deeper lockdowns and things like that, because it has been in the past. Of course, at some point, you would suspect that the loss of jobs across the board are going to have to affect all sorts of products, eventually, because people just aren't going to be able to buy things. But let's have just a quick check on the dollar, and you can see that the dollar.
Mate, just before you do,
Yeah.
Sino's asked me a question, and
Yep.
I want to address it pretty quickly. So,
Yeah, go for it.
if I can just pinch the screen for 2 seconds,
You can.
It won't take long. Mate, I like what you're seeing. I do like what you're seeing, and I've actually gone to the 30-minute chart where we've got a very, very similar scenario to what you're looking at. It's dollar yen, guys, on the small time frames. My issue is only this, and it's that I don't trade the first 30-minute candle of UK session. But the setup is absolutely perfectly valid, like the fact that we have bounced off the daily pivot and that we've got a high test bar sitting on that trade line there. You could look to trade that, in my humble opinion, on the 30-minute chart or the hourly chart. It's pretty much the same trade. You probably would want to consider, now that that low's been taken out, getting your stop loss in a probably more prudent position than you would if you were trading that bar, for instance. So you're looking to trade it long here, I'm sure, and generally your stop loss would be under that, trading the strategy that I trade from the slingshot point of view. But now that that low's been taken out, I feel that you're probably a little bit more prudent getting your stop loss in a safer position, maybe here, maybe here. But yeah, I think there's a trade there on either of the H1 or M30. What I will do is I'll wait for the 30-minute candle to close and make a decision based on what I see then. But because I don't trade the first 30-minute bar, I'll just let this one run. It may be at my peril, but that's my rule. And rules there to be not broken. So that's a quick whip up of that one, mate. There you go.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm just checking something here. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at the dollar index and how this may well affect everybody's decision making on the trade. And you can see that the dollar index is attempting again to push to the upside. Let's do that. Let's do that. It's attempting again to push to the upside. It's just got a tiny bit of resistance here, but we really do need to go right across to see exactly where there might be some further traders sitting. But it was a not much of a retracement on the dollar index. Look, it came down to just this level here. And it's broken through that level. It's tested that level. Now it's breaking through that level or attempting to anyway. It's taken out this high. Hasn't yet taken out this high here. And it hasn't yet taken out these highs here. So the absolute, the final number really for the dollar index is 94.09. We're currently sitting at 93.79. So we're very, very close to that number and that potential breakout. The market moved before Jerome Powell yesterday, and it didn't seem to me like it was in anticipation. I mean, that was the thing on my mind. It's a strange thing with this COVID situation, because as it seemed like it appeared that things were getting worse, the market kept popping higher and higher and higher. So when yesterday's announcement started to happen, and when we had the little spike, it seemed across the board, but certainly in the UK. I wasn't really expecting the move that we got because we seem to have been living with bad news for up until this point. So the market reaction yesterday was it took me a little bit by surprise, if I'm honest. And I thought we would maybe it would become more of a dollar story, but I think that's partly because I was possibly blindsided by the fact that my focus really is on the dollar right now. I've got such a strong opinion that the dollar is going to break out, that I am trading things in relation to that, and almost ignored what else was actually still potentially could change this market, and it is COVID. However, if there is some truth in the fact that we had some movement also in anticipation of Jerome Powell, then maybe the same thing happens here. Now, as I said, I didn't think he was particularly negative yesterday. He was actually, fairly positive about the US economy. And it was Kaplan that came out after and really put the buffers on any potential move in the dollar, I suppose, just by kind of reiterating that they want to keep things where they are, possibly for the next 2 years. We don't, I'm not quite sure exactly what the time frame is going to be, but Kaplan was a lot more damning of the US economy, not necessarily damning of the US economy, sorry, but he was a lot more cautious of the situation than it seemed that Jerome Powell was. But I'm still expecting this to play out, and we were counting the days, or to give ourselves the equal amounts of right shoulder, left shoulder, to kind of properly ascertain where this one could start moving, when this one could start moving, and we bring the daily chart back in again, and we were counting around about 11 or 12 on the right shoulder. So because of that, it would suggest now that we probably have around about the right time frame to start looking at this for going. This is the head here. Head looks like it ends about there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's 10. So it looks like between today and Thursday, this should go higher, because if the left shoulder is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe one more day there. So between 10 and 12, the idea of this breaking out is more probable. Now we have the fundamental aspect that could drive it. It's more probable that it'll be today or tomorrow, and everybody is bringing up Jerome Powell. So that suggests that, and I'd love it to break out without coming back, but that's for my own selfish reasons, because I'm already in trades. But for everybody that wants to get into a trade, then obviously you want it to come back a little bit to give you the opportunity to maybe sell off gold or silver or anything else. We've got Bailey speaking in about 10 minutes time. That might well move the pound, probably negatively again, and it looks like you might be getting a reaction from that, mate, as much as anything else. It doesn't look like the dollar's the driver for what's going on with the pound, but it certainly could be to do with the Bank of England.
Yeah, might be later. This will determine, I think, whether we're going to be big winners or little winners on the pound.
Yeah, I would
this
say
day anyway.
I would say, and then we got Fed, obviously the Fed chair testifying at 3:30 UK time, so that'll be during the US show. But we've got just a slew of this going on all week. He's testifying on Wednesday, and it's possible that we don't see a really genuine breakout until all this stuff is passed. So Thursday he's out again, and then it's quiet on Friday. So we might actually be waiting till Thursday before we get the next genuine leg of the situation. He may well change what he's going to say, because we are starting to see this spike, and COVID is really kind of driving this whole thing as much as anything else. So he might well change the tone of the rhetoric. But if he is to change the tone of the rhetoric, then it is likely to just maybe create a selling opportunity. Look at what's going on. I mean, look at the euro here. What happens if the euro is ultimately down here by the end of the week? It suggests that we're still looking at shorting the euro and further upside in the dollar into next week. So either way, if this comes back a little bit, then there's still a huge probability at this stage. Not a huge probability. That's a wrong way to put it. But there's a decent chance that there's some further weakness here. So look out for opportunities to sell these things off. There's gold. Gold looks really obvious now, doesn't it? When you kind of look at what happened in last week's price action, if we go and ignore the triangle that we were seeing, you see this step up. You see a high test bar against the monthly pivot. That this looks all of a sudden like a fairly clear and obvious statement that we are going to be going down. And this is the importance of checking different time frames, because you look at the daily, and the daily was just like, you wouldn't have taken that into account, because the daily was going to suggest that this is potentially just going to remain with this zone, and who knows when it was going to break. But the weekly definitely gave us much more information. The weekly definitely suggested, actually, this could be the week. It is suggesting this could be the week, which puts us really in a position that means that if the price can get back up to test somewhere along there, then there probably will be that selling opportunity again. So the move may not be over. The opportunity may not be over. The opportunity may well still be there. We're seeing a lot of things around their pivots right now, and around about their daily pivots. Where's the? Maybe gold early doors has already created a slight opportunity as it has tested the daily pivot. There's still going to be some spluttering along, but
big second last bar on the US session yesterday. What happened there?
This one here. Yeah, well, there was. I mean, this is the thing. I suppose it's inevitable that when we get to some more serious levels, there's going to be some jumps back to the upside, because there are still going to be buyers with orders in this particular position down here, and as the selling pressure, I suppose, as the selling pressure diminishes on its way down, it probably wouldn't take that many orders, relatively speaking, to pop it back to the upside again. So I think that's pretty much what we saw yesterday, mate. And it's the same with the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq had a really big pop to the upside. You look at when that happened and how long it took. Not very long at all. to kind of get us from this point. It was really as we closed up the session. This is probably the most significant bar. As we closed up the session in the US, that had popped up 1.5%. By the close of trade. So it was a big pop in an hour to be climbing like that. But the same can't be said right across the board. There was an okay move in the Dow, but actually that was up around about 1%, but not quite as significant. S&P. Yeah, I was up about 1% as well, actually. So
the moves come very late. Everything should have been over and done by then. The speech-wise, I would have thought. I mean, that's kind of US close there, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is, and this is the thing, and people need to recognize it as well. Every trader needs to recognize what type of trader they are, and if you are a scalper of any kind of description, knowing that you should be trading opens and closes is one of the first lessons that you should do, because it's the point in the day, all data and news aside, where you are going to get the highest volatility. So you're going to get the highest potential opportunity. So trading the open of a market, and it's an obvious statement, really. The Nasdaq doesn't open at midnight. The Nasdaq opens at 9:30 US, 2:30 UK. And that's when people are going to be at their desks, trying to get, that's when they're actually buying stocks to go and make profit on an investment. So of course that's going to be the highest liquidity, or the highest volatility at that time. And it's the same with the close, because obviously when a market comes right down, rather than waiting until 9:30 in the morning the next day to get their orders in, they want to put their orders in on the close, because if the market is at a particular low, they've got a pretty good chance that they've got a decent price down here, rather than waiting for the market to open and then gapping up again and missing the opportunity. So if you are a short-term trader, trading indices, that is, less the case to a degree on the currencies. But if you're trading an indice, knowing when that indice opens and closes and crosses over with other indice open and closes is really important. And it's a valid way to approach the market.
Yeah, a lot of strategies written around that.
I mean, that's what you do with a pound, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, same thing, exactly. And US close is no different.
Yep. Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. I mean, the dollar still hasn't quite gone through the levels yet, but it's edging up pip by pip, 93.81 currently.
It's slow burn, isn't it?
It is, but then I suppose this is the thing. I mean, yes, it is a slow burner so far today, and maybe after yesterday's fireworks, that was inevitable. In saying that, yesterday wasn't a slow burner by any stretch. You don't often get
no,
one
but
day.
If you go back 2 months or whatever it is, at least a month, we still haven't got rid of that, have we? We're still trying. Not 2 months. You go back to the left shoulder,
Yes.
We've been trying to get up since then, basically.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have. Yeah, which is back in the end of July, we started this whole process.
Yeah, guess who's been saying it's going and going and going since then, I might add.
Yeah.
In fact, since before then. That's how long I've been waiting for this to rally and just can't catch it. I hope, you've got it, and I hope it goes.
Yeah, I hope it goes a little bit further. There's going to be a point fairly, relatively soon, that I'm going to have to say, let's not be over exuberant here. And I'm not going to use the word greedy, because the thing is, if the work has been done and targets have been set, then it's kind of it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to sit through a profitable trade when it continues to go in your favor. It's a lot harder when things come back a little bit, which they inevitably do before they go higher, because the feeling of potentially giving back some of that profit, starts to increase, and then you end up kind of like messing with your trade. But I want to make sure that I get, near enough what my target is out on the trade with the dollar. I still don't get why the dollar is printing. The printing never stopped. No. Why? Because U.S. market drops suddenly got demand for each. So
Actually, before you answer that, Ash,
yeah.
and I did note, and I haven't read it yet, but there is an article on, I think it was CNBC released it. It was up to half an hour ago on Forex Factory in the news section. If you go in there, there's a little article. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's precisely on that subject. So have a little read of that. Might increase. I will too if I get the chance.
In CNBC in Forex Factory.
Yeah, just go into news.
Oh, into news. Okay.
Looks like it's gone. Oh, that'd suck if that was the case. Just go down. Just scroll down on the page a bit, mate. There we go. Here's why top economists are not worried about the US national debt.
Oh, okay.
I haven't read it yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's going to be worth a read later on. And this is so. So let's talk about why to start with, and how we determine why that the market is moving. So is the UK really serious with potential 50,000 cases a day? Yes, mate. Yeah, it is. It is is euro pound and euro pound is positive now. Something happened in the UK. Oh, well, the fact that we're getting
that's a trade we took last night.
Oh, okay, all right. So let's just have a
Actually,
look at
everything's positive at the moment. Aussie Swiss has come back into positive territory as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I still don't get why. So let's think about it. So is it because Jay? Is you, Jeff, scrambling to write the overprinting? I don't know what it is. But let's talk about it. Let's see. What we think. Now, the first thing is, why is the dollar strengthening when they're printing so much? I don't know. That's the bottom line. I don't know why people would be going out when, as you quite rightly point out, the dollar is doing what it's doing. And in some respects, it's impossible to know. All I know is about data. I don't know about speculation. It's from here on in, it's really anybody's guess. Everybody's got just as much right to be correct here as I have. But there's a few reasons that I would put potentially behind it. And that some of those might be that everybody is weakening their currency right across the board. They're all doing it. That's the first thing. So there's got to be some point where the dollar becomes fair value and slightly possibly higher, because we've had the massive move to the downside. Now that move can't continue to the downside if everybody starts to catch up and does equal stimulus. That's the first thing. The second thing, which I think is much more important, is that the dollar, along with the yen, is a protection currency. It can act in both ways. It can be a growth currency and it can be a protection currency. It's the most mobile, if you like, and the most supple out of the currency. So if people are getting worried about, you got TP2 on the pound. Thanks, Alan. TP2 on the pound, Jeff?
Yes, mate. Cheers, Alan.
Good stuff. If people are worried about things, then they tend to go and buy the dollar. But the other aspect of anything that I think can certainly be explained away here. US dollar up. Let's have a look what they're. So the dollar was up on Tuesday morning in Asia, clinging on to gains from the previous session as COVID-19. So here we go. As COVID-19 fears and worries over the US Congress stimulus impasse drove a heavy sell-off in most other. In almost all other assets. Now,
Sorry, mate. It's actually not at TP2 yet. TP2 is at 27.29, which is 6 pips from now. But we are at DS1. I would take it. It's only a few pips away. So yeah.
Oh, well, the dollar's getting a pop as it goes, mate. I mean, I wonder whether you're probably likely to get TP2 anyway. You look at the dollar; it's getting a. Not that it's for me to tell you how to manage a trade, of course, but I am seeing a dollar pop right now. Look at 93.86 right now. It's having another bite of that particular area. Who knows? Maybe it does get through. Maybe it doesn't. So
Yeah,
Just
no,
ignore what I've just said.
I'm taking.
Sorry, mate.
I'm taking TP2.
I don't know why I'm
at
getting involved
DS1.
in your trade. You've just got a, you've just got a
Yeah, that's
profitable
okay.
trader going, no, Jeff.
Yeah, no, don't do
that. Yeah. Anyway, so brilliant work, mate. Really good to have a further profits in the morning. That's what we're here for.
So that makes us. Hang on, I'm just working out what we are on yesterday's trade at the moment. We are now 8 times risk on yesterday's trade.
That is a cracker. That is a cracker. Now, I wonder when you do your beta test, whether it's days like this that smooth out all those other little ones.
Of course, that's the whole idea, you know.
Yeah.
This is never going to be a win every day strategy. The whole point is making, as always, making your winners big and your losers small.
Yeah.
That's the challenge that we all have as traders.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, love it. Really good. Okay, anyway, so what this is saying, so clinging on to the gains from the previous session, is COVID-19 fears and worries over the US Congress's stimulus in passe drove a heavy sell-off in almost all other assets. Now, what this is suggesting is that that Congress, for stocks to go higher, it wants or needs that package from Congress. Because the dollar, because the Fed may well just, they've effectively given all their guidance of what they're going to do, and we're just waiting for the dollar to potentially continue to strengthen because the Fed have moved now. So now it goes back to Congress, it goes back to government, and the market needs the government stimulus package to continue higher because the stimulus is kind of we've had the price has now taken in what that stimulus package has done. So that would suggest that people are now going into the dollar probably just for a little bit of safety. Put your money back in the dollar, exchange, get rid of some shares, get it back in the dollar, get ready for another buying opportunity later down the line. Because they probably would not want to change the currency out of dollars right now. Particularly because if you go to the dollar and the dollar strengthens, then you're in pretty good shape to then go back and buy some equities, not only lower than they are, but also with the inflation aspect that the increased dollar is going to give you. So it's going to give you more bang for your buck from today. So that's what that suggests anyway. Now, I'm not saying that that's why, but that's what that suggests. And that's all I can do. Figure out, what does some of these comments suggest? This is from investing.com. These are just, economists like, hundreds of other people out there. It doesn't mean that they're right. This is just their opinion, and this is the thing with all this stuff. It's always going to be opinion. The dollar index, which tracks the greenback against the basket of other currencies, inched up. So we know that equity sell-off gathered quite dramatic momentum during the European day, and the risk-averse characteristics of the US dollar. And this is, look at this again, risk-averse characteristics of the US dollar. So it's telling you about it being risk-off, came here to the fore. So it doesn't look anyway. Nobody's suggesting it's about the Fed or Jerome Powell's statement. And we know that financials bore the brunt of the sell-off, HSBC particularly, Standard Chartered particularly, which again, look at this stuff and take it into account. Financials bore the brunt of the sell-off. So if financials bore the brunt of the sell-off with a dollar strengthening, then you start to go, okay, is that a regular occurrence? If I see dollar strength, do banks tend to sell off? And you go back and do some research on that. And this is how you start building up your knowledge as a trader, what you can take advantage of. As I said before, I thought there was over 4,000 things to trade in the world, but it sounds like there's more like 25,000 plus. So there are always opportunities. And while you might not want to trade a dollar long, you might want to then go, okay, how can I express that in a different way? Maybe I look at the banks. So we can start kind of looking at these people and seeing what they are suggesting. That doesn't mean that this is the same every time, but what it means is that we've got something to go and research. So a fresh outbreak of COVID-19 in Europe, with a looming specter of fresh lockdowns and jitters over the continuing impasse of the US in the US Congress over the latest stimulus measures as the US presidential election draws nearer. Now that's another factor as well. Also saw investors turning to the greenback. So these are all potential reasons. And I know what I'm doing is reading somebody else's website. But my point that I'm making is that I don't know. And the only way that I can find out is by reading other people's opinion and then seeing if I agree with it. So in this particular instance, I think that is probably a fair argument. Everything that's been stated there looks like a pretty good argument. Okay. Okay. Okay, I don't see any other questions there. Have you got anything else to add to that, mate? Yeah, I see the euro pound is popping up again, and
yeah, it's at a bit of a resistance level at the moment too. But yeah, that wasn't there yesterday. My TP level here is at 92.15 as I've got it. I'm not sure if that's what I said yesterday, but that's what I've got, 0.9215. So I'm not, I was getting up there, but haven't got there yet. We shall see.
Yeah.
No reason to do anything at the moment, but yeah, look, everything's looking okay right now.
Looking pretty rosy, mate. Liking it so far. I mean, it'd be great to get another day like yesterday. I don't know how what the likelihood is. God, the pound really is in trouble, isn't it? It's broken that low. Just looking at the pound here, I don't really like to see this with my own national currency, but it looks like it's attempting to break out of that low now.
Yeah, look, we're getting some really good results right now, because we were very patient last week and waited to get into the right trades. And I think, well, I don't think I know. It's terribly boring at times just to sit in a show and go, well, okay, these guys are just not going to trade. But eventually, and we say it all the time, the market whispers to you.
Yeah.
That's the time that you need to ignore it. When it shouts in your ear roll, that's the time when you need to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it's one of the hardest things to learn, isn't it? It's
do you know this is the thing. It is there is so much to learn. And obviously what we talk about is fairly broad in many respects with some nuance. But what was going to be my point? Oh yeah, there's so many things to learn, but the key really is to know your own system, to sort of like get used to your own system. Just like you have with the slingshot, just like Shukri has with the way that he approaches cryptos and the way that I approached my trading as well. It's really important to and the reason that is the most important is that when you lose trades, which you will do, and everybody loses trades, everybody loses with a trading account. The most important aspect with knowing your system is to have the confidence that eventually it will come good again, and it doesn't bother you to lose trades. And I was reading something last night about the mentality. One of the key aspects to the mentality, and this actually is quite important for everybody listening, and to recognize it in yourself. One of the key aspects that studies have been done. One of the key aspects of people that make money in the market is that they are quite laid back about losses. They don't let it kind of eat them up. That nobody likes losing. Don't get me wrong. Nobody likes losing money, but they're quite easy about it. But the only way that you kind of build that up. Now you do want that as a characteristic, probably in the first place, to a point. And this is what when you're saying about going to the bar, Jeff, as a to trade with horses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's one of the characteristics of good traders, just from studies that have been done. One of the characteristics of good traders are people that can shrug it off Now, when you're younger, you shrug it off and it doesn't really matter because you can always come back from it. But actually, it stands you in good stead later down the line, because when you actually get professional and you do all the work that you need to do and you have confidence in your own system and your own strategy, when you lose, you can shrug it off, which means that you can get clear-headed when you go and approach the market again. And there's two real main reasons for being able to shrug it off. The first thing is, as I said, know your strategy and know that it'll come good. But the second thing is that you don't try, which is another characteristic. You don't try and put too much pressure on one single trade, so you're not overexposed and over leveraged.
Yeah, it's not the day, it's not even the week, it's not the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's what your accountant asks you at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Did you win or did you lose?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's obviously what we're trying to create. Currencies are on the move, mate. The dollar index is currently sitting at around about 93, 92, so it's got a little bit further to go. But you see these currencies, and they are really starting to stretch their legs out. Looks like the dollar Swiss hasn't quite got there yet, but it's attempting to get higher. Aussie dollar as well is.
TP1 on Euro Pound, guys. If you haven't taken it, if you're in it, you need to take it.
Goodness me, are you on a hot streak or what?
Yeah, going okay.
Oh gosh, yeah, you were in this yesterday, weren't you? You were saying that saying that it was against your bias, but the setup was there.
Yep. I don't know how much to get out of it, but yeah, I'll be getting out of this at around about the 92.62 mark, I think it is.
Yes, heal quickly from losing trades. Exactly.
Have you been to the Dapto Dogs, Dennis? I have been to the Dapto Dogs, as a matter of fact.
The Dapto Dogs.
Dapto's a town.
Oh, Dapto.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know, I'd still go to the Dogs if I didn't think that they were treating the dogs badly. Now, I know knowing what you know about dog racing, is this true? I heard that if they've got a fast dog but they want to bet against it effectively, then they cut their legs at the back.
Oh, there's all sorts of things they'll do to it. They'll break their toes as they go into the boxes, and yeah, all sorts of terrible things.
Yeah, not down with that, mate. Not down with that. If they could clean up some of these things, then everybody'd have a much better time.
Well, you're always going to have issues with breeding animals for personal gain, or
yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose it's sport right way around, right through the board, isn't it? Because obviously that is cheating to try and get the upper hand. The unfortunate thing is that you're actually doing it to something that's very, very innocent and doesn't know what it's even doing. It's just running around a track after a cuddly toy. But it's gone on for time. I remember stories about Muhammad Ali and how they would do things like put extra Vaseline on the face so the punches would slip off the faces a bit more, or more Vaseline on the body, or they would. Who's the first guy he fought? Was it the
first guy?
Yeah. Who's the first guy?
His first ever fight?
The first ever title fight.
Oh, that would have been.
Who's that fella?
Yeah. No, sorry, can't help you.
Well, that fella, I think that there was talk of him putting something on his gloves that made.
Would have been Rocky Marciano, maybe.
No, I don't think so, mate. I think Rocky Marciano was
dead.
Was before, not dead at that time, but I think that was before. Who was that? Sonny Liston. It was Sonny Liston.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Another famous name.
Yeah, so Sonny Liston, I think, covered his gloves in something that blinded Ali in the first fight, and it is, things like this go on all the time. There's always handballs in football. There's always cheating that goes on in every single sport because of the highly competitive element to it. And I guess it's no different with horse racing, dog racing, and everything else. The high competitive aspect that humans have means that they will actually go to nefarious means to try and get the upper hand. But as I say, it's sad when there's an innocent party involved in that. When it's a human cheating out another human. It's not nice to see.
There
But
you go.
but when
Dennis
it's
is onto it. It was deep heat.
deep heat, okay, so deep heat that he put on his gloves was it, and it blinded Ali, I think.
Yeah, that'll do it.
He still won though. So
Have you ever put deep heat near your nether? No, well,
no, no. I can imagine it burns though.
It'd give you some. I'll give you the tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking for a swimming pool real quick.
The Johnny Cash song does come to mind. What have we got anyway, mate? What have we got from here? We got anything to look over?
Well, it's pretty much all about managing trades, mate. I think we're in about 7 trades. They're all going okay. They're all doing pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Aussie Swissy is the only one that is at any risk at the moment. And I'll take you through them, I suppose. Probably the best idea.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to tidy up some of my stops while you're doing that.
I think, Sino, you might be in dollar yen by now, I would imagine. Let's take a look at that quickly. Dollar yen. Have I got a dollar yen chart here somewhere? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you would have been triggered into that by now. I can't because it hasn't pulled back. If it does pull back, then I probably will. But I hope for your sake that it doesn't if you're in it and you manage to get a TP1 wherever you choose to take it. There might be one of those options there, but it might be another. If it goes to the weekly pivot, then gives us a lower high, it would be good to enter long, right? You mean a higher low? A lower high would not be good. A higher low would be good. But we've already got the higher low here. So if we went here, then came back here and put in a higher low, then, yeah, I'm going to have to go to the bigger picture, you see. You've got a nice double bottom here, but is it the double bottom of where? Yeah, look, the level's sound. There's no question about that. And the dollar is definitely on a rally, but so is the yen. And that's the issue that you've got. It's not a matter of trading the dollar here. It's a matter of trading, in my opinion, that is, it's a matter of trading a balance. So both currencies are on a rally. Look, I'd have to say yes. If you got a bounce off the weekly pivot and got a higher low, then yes, absolutely, there's a trade to be had. But if it's only a bounce and it doesn't break the weekly pivot, then you've got an issue as to trading through that without taking profit. So that would be how I would counsel you. Break it and retest it would be the best case scenario, similar to what we traded on Euro Pound. Break, retest like that. That's always cool. So that's probably where I'm at with that one. I'm still bearish, right? So I haven't got a huge appetite for going long here for 2 reasons. It might take out my stop. And the other is I still think this is going down. Of course, it's at a strong level, and it's got to be part of the equation as well. So, yeah, it's a tough one, mate. It really is. If you're biased long based on this support level, I would absolutely support what you're saying. And from a technical point of view, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. If it bounces off the weekly pivot and gives you a higher low, then I think there's a trade to be had. Just be aware that you've got fairly decent momentum to the downside as well. But, yeah, look, the level couldn't be stronger. There's no question there. No question at all. So good luck with that. I hope that works out for you. So we're still in dollar yen. We've taken profit. We've got our stops just above entry, which is protected by the weekly pivot. And if that were to come back and take us out, then we would still be in profit. Swissy yen, continue with the yen theme. That's struggling at this level. I took TP2 at this level yesterday as it passed through there. Wasn't real happy when it kept going, but you can see what happened in the end of the day. That level is now saying exactly what you would expect it to say, and that's, whoa, hang on a minute. Let's reassess this. I'd be expecting a retest of, I don't know, that trend line's a bit acute for me. Yeah, look, I think this can keep going. I really do think it can keep going. So I don't have a problem with that. Hang on to it. This one here, which you guys should be in, I don't know if you wouldn't probably have taken second profit at this point. No, I don't know. I didn't nominate that, but I'll leave that up to you because I'm now out of the trade, foolishly out of the trade. I moved my stops too tight and got hit. So break even, basically a little bit of a win for me, but yeah. But that one's still going. What else have we got? Kiwi US dollar. Sad. Look, I'm still interested in this, but you've got the RBNZ statement coming up in about, 12 hours from now or something like that. If you're in it, gee, I wish you well. I think it can go a long way, this one. If you're not in it, you need to get into it and get safe in the market before that statement comes along. So, yeah, the only way I could see me getting into this is with a retracement back here, and then time's going to take. No, I can't see me getting into it, sadly, because I wanted to be in it short. Euro pound, as we know, wow, look at that. It's come big time straight back off, and I haven't moved my stops yet. I should do that very shortly because TP1 having been taken, I should have moved my stops back up here somewhere. What was the risk? 191.90, 45, and we took 25 off. 25 pips from entry is where my stop should be now, which is right about there somewhere. 91.65 is where the stop should be at the moment, having taken half off the table. Hope you've done that. This looks very interesting now. The market's starting to get a little bit fractious, is it not? I don't know that I want to do anything else, Ash. As I said before, it's very much a case of now just managing these, getting as much out of them as we possibly can. The pound, which has obviously come back, stops are at entry on today's sell. I've moved my stops to 128.75-ish here on yesterday's trade, locking in some more profit in case this does come back on us. 128.73, yeah, I think is the level. This is now looking very, very interesting. So is the dollar sucking back as well? No, it's still stable. So this might be a pound story by the look of that. And we have, of course, it would be a pound story. We've got news, have we not? If I'm not mistaken. Seem to recall there was news.
Yeah, there was a statement, mate, which I think we should check on actually.
Oh, Bailey, that's right.
Yeah. Bailey was out.
Well, 28 minutes ago, and that's why we're seeing that price action. So that's why we like to take profit, guys, in case stuff like that does happen. Indeed, Alan. Well, it's not lucky. You should know when you go into a trade when you're going to take it. It was a rapid down and also a rapid back at this point. We'll see how that pans out. Something Helen, you asked way long back ago. Oh, is it my birthday? No, it's not my birthday. Well, it could be.
That was I think that was about the wallet. That was
it's about the wallet. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm opening my first wallet live on air tonight in the US session when Shukri's going to anoint me as a what do they call those things? Crypto trader. Well, crypto farmer, actually. Don't call me a trader. I can't see me trading cryptos. But farming sounds very interesting to me. So, yeah, we open the wallet tonight and get into it and see how we go. So Shukri's going to take us all through that process, I hope, and we'll follow my wallet and see if I have to pump it up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Now, before we go, mate, there was also a question from Simon. I don't think he's in today, but we had a question from Simon last week in the US session to do with scaling in. And I wanted to do an educational session on it. Now, I was in with Orlando last Wednesday, and we were going to talk about it. So I don't know if you want to get Orlando to touch on it on Wednesday, but also I wonder whether you'd like to do one with me on Thursday, and maybe we could do our educational sessions on Thursday or something.
Yeah, maybe we do that, eh? Wait till Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
I got a funny feeling Thursday is going to be boring this week because there's a whole lot happening right now.
Yeah.
And I think that may well settle down after we've had all these speeches. We'll see.
Okay.
So, yeah,
so that's
Thursday's the day.
All right,
so
we'll
what's
do
the subject
that.
Again?
Money management, effectively scaling in.
Right.
Yeah, how are we scaling? Because I do it in a slightly different way. So I said that I would show how that can be done. So maybe in the US session we'll do that on Thursday.
Cool. Actually, I'll be interested to have that conversation. I'm not the best at it, I've got to say.
Well, that's okay, mate. Well, yeah, it'll be good and interesting to sort of like see everybody's different approach to do that. You know, how they do scaling, if at all. You know, some people don't want to scale in, which is absolutely fine too.
So did you say you had that conversation with Orlando in our show?
Yeah, we were talking about it last week. And
right, okay. So I don't need to go over that again with him.
No, but he might have something prepared for it, so he might do his thing today.
Okay.
Sorry, tomorrow, and then we can do one on Thursday where I'll do mine.
Cool bananas.
Awesome. All right, buddy. We are done
for the session. Thank you, guys. No trading, no crypto farming. Yep, Shukri, I'll sack you if you put me into trading. I know you won't. All right, mate, have a good break. We'll catch up with you on Thursday UK session. Is that right?
Thursday UK. Yes, you will. Yeah, see me on the UK session on Thursday. Yeah, fantastic.
We'll get used to this schedule.
Yeah,
after a few weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, enjoy yourself, and guys, I'll be back at 6:30. Is that right? No, 8:30. 8:30. What country do you live in? Singapore and Hong Kong, and of course for my strategy guys, I'll be back at some stage as well. Can't remember the timing right now, and of course the US session will follow the YouTube session at around about 9 o'clock. Right, guys, have a good one, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Great stuff. See you soon, guys.
Bye-bye for now. Oh, shut up, Roy.